So now let me welcome already our last speaker for this session. So welcome Vanessa Berger. So Vanessa is project coordinator at the UNESCO-Chair for Sustainable Management of Conservation Areas at the Carinthia University of Applied Sciences, and she's also project manager at the E.C.O Institute for Ecology. That's a long one.
Yeah, I know.
So she holds a master in ecology and biodiversity from the University of Innsbruck. And today we all will learn something about forest ecosystems, as Vanessa will give us a talk about digitizing the forest from individual trees to carbon storage of forest ecosystems. So the stage is yours. Thank you.
Thank you, Natalie, for this long introduction. So I really want to say welcome to all of you. So I'm proud to be part of this really important event today. And also as an ecologist, because I'm not the normal data scientist, I feel like. And my topic is all about the forest. So how can we digitize the forest? What can we make out of this data? Because just collecting data is really nice, so I like it very much, but we really have to make value out of our data. And I also want to introduce you a bit to the UNESCO-Chair, so the Sustainable Management of Conservation Areas. So our vision and mission is to empower and enable personalities, institutions, and societies to face present and future challenges in the management of conservation areas. So I would like the journey to the data of the forest and also a bit into the forest with one statement of my most favorite role model in nature conservation. So Jane Goodall said once, trees are the foundation of our ecosystem, of our planet. So I think this is a really nice statement because the forest is a really huge part of our world. And as you can see here, if we go out to the forest, yes, the first challenge is not always the steep slopes, and there are so many trees and dead trees lying around and dense understory, but to make monitoring, so long-term monitoring, to collect data sets in the forest is really tricky because you have to find the same spot, so the same plot after 10 years. So it's not about, oh yeah, 10 meters there or there, so makes no change. So it's a huge difference because we measure the trees, the volume of the trees of all 10 years, and we collect it by hand. And if we do not find our plot again, we cannot calculate the growth of this tree. So if we go out with our classical tools, so you can see here, I always look a bit crazy walking through the forest with all those tools in my hand because I need a metal detector that I find my plot again. I need the GPS to find my plot again. And then I have my caliper to measure the diameter breast height. And sometimes there is dense understory, so walking through the forest is really not like walking, it's like crawling and hanging around. And I really like to measure data precisely, and this is really horrible if you're in this dense understory and you have your measuring devices and you have to measure a 300 square meter plot and you are not able to see 2 meters. So you can imagine, sometimes it's hard out there. And it's not getting easier if you have different areas, because another nice thing, I always have a lot of paper with me or on the tablet, and reading in the forest, because we do not use the same methodology all over Europe or the world. So no. We have different methodologies for every protected area, so we measure quite the same. We want to know the volume of the trees, so the biomass. We want to have really indicators for biodiversity, but no, we do not do it the same way. So every protected area has his own methodology. So you need to remember out there, so therefore I have my paper with me, walking through the forest. And in the last years, we managed that we can collect our data now on tablets. So not anymore writing down on the paper, because paper never ever tells you you forgot to collect data. And go there 3 hours to your plot because you forgot to make the photos is really not very nice. So we now collect our data with the tablet, so you can see here, so we can implement all our data sets in this tablet. So we have our cloud in the background, so we have also the data storage immediately with that. Sometimes we are offline, but we have our GIS data. We can see the tree on the GIS, on the spatial data on our tablet, so we are not just thinking, yeah, afterwards in the office, this could be the tree I saw out there. So we directly can mark the tree in the field, put all the metadata to the tree. And another nice thing about vegetation ecology is that we have more than 2,000 species. So spelling errors are a really huge problem in data analysis afterwards. So thanks to the tablet, we have now drop-down lists. There are also some new approaches, and I really like to work with these, so with the drone, so that we get once the bird-eye view of our forest and not just standing there and do not see the trees because of too much trees. And photogrammetry is a really nice approach because it's quite low cost. You can walk through the forest, make a lot of pictures, and afterwards calculate a digital twin of the forest. So not just writing on a paper tree 1, 2, 3, you really can see afterwards a digital tree, so a digital forest. And we are now able to now I messed up everything. Thank you. So we now can calculate change detection. This means we can take our laser scan or photogrammetry-based point cloud, calculate just minus, and now we know that there are these red dots, the trees are missing, and the green one, trees are growing. That means we are not just staying out there, make our plot, and then write a nice report about how the forest looks like. So now we can have a really spatial analysis on the dynamic of the forest. And we are also able to extract features from those digital models of our trees, so from our point clouds. So another approach is to using laser scanning. So the laser scanner, I think all of you know already. So you know the digital elevation models and surface models. And this laser scanner we can use on an airplane, on a UAV. I really like the terrestrial laser scanner. And also now we have mobile devices like tablets. And down here you can see, and I think you can imagine how depressed I was standing out there, and they asked me, how high is the biomass? Because now you are starting measuring all those trees. And it's really good to now have technology that you can use and make point clouds and calculate later on the volume of trees. But why I'm always talking about the biomass of trees and so on. So for us in nature conservation, it's really important to know more about how many biomass do we have in the forest, because biomass in the forest means we store carbon dioxide in the forest. So here is an example on how we use those digital twins. And it's on the left side, you can see raw data, so it's just a lot of points on your computer. So for the terrestrial laser scanner, we have 25,000 points per square meter, so huge data sets. And then we start, because we do not want just always know the whole ecosystem. So no, we want to have information on single trees. So we start to make this single tree detection so that we get a lot of different metrics on all those trees in the forest. And at the end, we calculate some vectors. I hope you can see it. So we make out of those many points a vector so that we can really estimate or calculate the biomass very accurate, because now we are doing it by measuring once at the diameter at breast height, then measuring the height of a tree, and then estimate the biomass. And now we can make vector models to calculate this. So we get really the tree, so the whole tree, not just 2 parameters and then make another out of that. So we now get an idea on different tree metrics. So what is the tree position? So the tree top and the tree base was just writing on a paper. It was not possible to make this. Then also steam curves, tree height, diameter at any height, tree volume, and the tree structure, because measuring crown radius out there is also a quite tricky metric to measure. And we can now just count the number of branches. So I never did it in the field, because staying out there under a tree and measure or calculate all branches, so it would need a lot of time. And also the order of different branches. So, but to make a bit more about your data than not just collecting, we calculate afterwards the carbon storage. So we take the volume of our trees, then we calculate the timber volume, so with dead wood and living trees, then use it to make an average, so calculate the average dry weight. From this, we get the average carbon content. So in the project, I will later talk a bit about that. And afterwards, we can calculate this carbon dioxide equivalent, because it's more known to talk about carbon dioxide and not just on carbon. And for the Federal Forests of Austria, we calculated on their data. So they gave us the data to calculate how many carbon do we store in the Federal Forest of Austria. And it's just a quite easy calculation, but it gives us an idea to how many carbon dioxide can we store. And we found out that for the federal forest, they have a yearly carbon sequestration about 500,000 tons of carbon dioxide. So just the federal forest every year. And there are estimations on the total carbon storage for Austria. So we are talking about 2,900 up to 3,600 tons of carbon dioxide. And so for me, this is an opportunity that we can take data science and really get an idea how many carbon can we store in the forest. And maybe this is not a solution, but at the end, I think it will give us a bit more time, because nature will store the carbon for us, and in the meanwhile, we are able to change, or hopefully able to change our habits and find some more sustainable solution. So another last picture from the forest. So this is a high value forest. So you can see here that we have a lot of dead wood. And that would means that this is a hotspot for biodiversity. So a forest is not only always living trees, not always our spruce as we know it here in Austria. It is also important to have a lot of dead wood, because forest provides us with different ecosystem services. It's carbon storage is just one of them. Then we also have erosion control. It prevents us from flooding. And yeah, so my conclusion is a bit, let's use technology so that we can calculate really precise data sets, so that we can analyze and really get an idea how many carbon could we store, and so give value to the nature, so calculate the value of nature, and then we can make it visible to a broader audience. So I would like at the end thanks to FFG for funding such projects, also our project partners. And I saw that some of my project partners are also here, so in the background, the group of the Siena. And I hope that so Carinthia University of Applied Science give us a playground to work on those important topics, so how we can use our data sets in nature conservation and make more value out of that. And I think I'm really curious what we can make with the group up there with data science for nature conservation and also for a more sustainable future. And therefore, thank you very much, and I hope you have enjoyed the talk and the journey through the forest with me.
So thank you a lot, Vanessa, for this. It was very interesting. So I would also have a short question for you. So does it matter which trees you have out there for the carbon storage, or?
Yes.
Yes, okay. Which ones are the best?
The best, the hornbeam beech. So yeah, it's more than, the more heavy they are, the more carbon they store. But at the end, it's really important that we have natural tree species out there. So not just thinking about carbon storage, because we need to protect nature, and also therefore it's important that we use our local tree species, because I think all of you know what's going on in the forest. So if there comes a bog beetle or something else, then it's good if we have a really natural forest which can withstand those bog beetles and other hazards and so on.
Okay, thank you. Thank you a lot. Thanks again, Vanessa.